Bee Hive. It has been a productive couple of days. Dividing my day up into cross stitch, quilting, gotta do out there, wanna see, shopping has been productive for me because I was kind of getting in a rut. But this last month, I seem to have found my rhythm. And I think that's the thing, is that we all need to find our rhythm. An extraordinary thing happened this week. It caught me off guard, but Quilt Roadies subscribers have tipped over the 20,000 mark. Wow. It kind of blows my mind. To give you a little bit of history of Quilt Roadies, I was taking an early retirement, and I retired a year before G did. And during that year, it was a process because a majority of my friends were not retired at that point. I was the first one to take that plunge, and so in some ways it was kind of isolating, you know. And I finally told G one day, you know what? You're really cramping my style here. I'm kind of stuck in some ways at home because you're still working, you know, and I can't just be gallivanting all by myself 24/7 when he's, you know, bringing home the bacon kind of thing. And so he also decided to take an early retirement. We had to think about that. Suddenly, we were both together 24/7. And it was like, okay, we were like celebrating retirement, but okay, now what? Now what? And we both come from camping history, and we knew we loved to camp, and our parents both traveled for their work quite a bit, and so we were somewhat nomadic growing up. And when we counted up, there was a comedian who all he did was stand up on stage and name off all the places he lived in his lifetime. And so I thought, oh my, I'm going to count how many places, different places we've lived in our lifetime from childhood on. And I was 22 different places in my life, and G was 21. So we both had that footloose kind of feeling. You know, that you want to see what's over the next horizon. So I told him, I said, well, you're cramping my style, and so he took early retirement, but suddenly we're 24/7, like I said. And so I said, well, when you go camping, you're not just 24/7 in a house that has different corners that one could retreat to. You're kind of in a limited space, and you talk about 24/7. And so that is where the Quilt Roadies vision came about, is that I said, well, how about we have somewhat of an agenda when we're on the road? And I was a diehard quilter, and I jumped on that boat really heavily in the 90s. And so I said, how about we just start documenting for ourselves our travels. You know, I wasn't into scrapbooking, nor would it be an easy craft to take on the road. So I said, I'll just video our travels so that we can chronicle where we've been, and we'll stop at quilt shops. What a great idea. And I said, I'll feature different quilt shops along the road, and if I can take a class, I would look ahead at a quilt shop and see, do they have an open stitch, and I'd sign up and I'd go there for the day. It kind of gave us a break from each other too, and so then it just evolved that way. It was a real enjoyable way for me to not only look at places that I'd never been, but also to go to quilt shops I'd never been to, or quilt shows, or take a class in a city I've never been to. And that journey led us from 1 subscriber to over 20,000. It's truly extraordinary, and I am so appreciative to all of you that have come along, who have enjoyed what we do, and even those of you that maybe don't enjoy some of it, but still hang in there. Thank you to you all. I so appreciate it. And how I want to show my appreciation is a giveaway. And so I am heading up to Portland by myself, but I'm going to try to make a stop at Pioneer Quilts, which is one of my favorite shops in the Portland area. And I'm trying to figure out if there are hours with the whole COVID and what phase we're in, see what their hours are, and I'm going to pick up a $25 gift card from Pioneer Quilts and a $25 gift card from the Stitch and Post here in Sisters. And we'll have that giveaway on the next video. So if you're interested in a gift card at either place, just use the word quilt. Use the word quilt in your comment. And then the next time I show up here, we'll have two people will walk away with a gift card. And again, I can't thank you enough for hanging out with me. Naturally, as our subscribers has increased, it gets harder and harder to keep up with the comments, but I read every single one. And I want you to know that those comments are for me, especially in this time of where we're more isolated than we were, they make me feel like I really have a friend across the table. And I enjoy your sharing. I feel privileged to carry your story. And I encourage you to kind of go look at other people's comments, because there's some things that someone might ask that I don't know, that you might know, or that you can relate to that they're sharing. It truly is just a wonderful community here at Quilt Roadies. And thank you so much. So what have I been doing this week? Well, I finished the baby quilt. No, not finished it. I pieced it together. And I know on a lot of the comments, many of you feel like baby quilts should be bright. And I totally get that. I have a stack of novelty and bright fabrics because that's what I think, that's what I love. But a lot of this generation with the modern minimalistic look, they like that more subdued. And my cousin sent me a picture of kind of the color that she kind of likes, and I was even hesitant to add a pop of color to the quilt, because who knows what that pop is. I don't know what she's decorated like. So I said better to stay more subdued. So I did get it together, and if you remember, it's this pattern. Just a little card. It's a sweet little card pattern. So simple. And I like that one with all the different colors. But let's see, this one, I won't be able to get it all into the frame, but there it is. So it has, it isn't everybody's cup of tea, that is for sure. But I like it. I like it, and I think she will very much like it. And what you want to do is if someone wants a baby quilt, you want to make it to their taste because you don't want it to be the dog's quilt. Although our dog that we had, Enzo, he had his own quilt. So I wanted to show you something else before I go. And we'll talk a little bit while I sew here. One of the things I did back in the day, because I approach life as a series of possible experiences. And I don't need to really be good at anything. I just want to know what it feels like to have it happen. What does that feel like? So I have had some extraordinary experiences just because I wanted to know. And once I know, I don't have to do it again. Maybe it's not my thing. Like at one point back in I think it was the middle or late 90s, I actually designed a few patterns. And I realized I'm not a designer. In my brain, what it takes to be a designer, I didn't enjoy it. I just want to do someone else's designs. But one of the things I did was I literally accumulated half square triangles. And what I mean by that is that when I would go on quilt retreat with my girlfriends, anytime they had to cut to make a half square triangle and they cut that piece off, they gave it to me. So I had piles of fabrics that were already matched, that if you sewed them together and opened them up, you had a perfectly beautiful half square triangle. And some of those were very small. And so I collected all of those, and then I sewed them together and made different things out of them. Because they weren't fabrics that I had purchased. They were out of someone else's stash. That was kind of fun. And I submitted 2 different patterns to Miniature Quilt magazine when they were still in publication. And so they were printed in the magazine, and it was, oh, so this is what it feels like to have a pattern printed in a magazine. But I didn't have to do it again once I did it. But it has not stopped me from looking at every scrap of fabric. So when I was doing this baby quilt, I realized, hey, I'm not going to throw all this half square triangles away. I'm going to sew them together. So I have been sewing all the pieces that I cut off, and they're into perfectly matched half square triangles. So there, that's about, let's see. So I have, it is when I trim it nice and neat, it's going to be a 3-inch half square triangle square. Awesome. Awesome, because with this many, and I have this many just to chain, and I'm chain sewing together, I could make a table runner. I could do all kinds of stuff with it, and it's already all kind of matched up. So that is what I do, and I kind of forgot the process because back in the day when I'd be sewing on my line, I would at that time measure out 1/2 inch and put the other seam and then cut it off so that it was already sewn together. But I didn't remember that I used to do that until I had cut them all off, and then I went, oh, oops, I could have saved myself this step of having to sew these all together. But I'm kind of excited because I'm wondering what kind of table runner this might be. You know, it might be a very interesting gift for somebody. You know, wouldn't quite fit in my house, but it might be a gift for somebody. You never know. Somebody else likes this. Or I could make a pillow. I also have used these half square triangles and made wall hangings as like sashing on a wall hanging, or a background for a wool design, because they're kind of all already all matched up, which is really, it's like one step's totally done. And then when I sew these all off, I'll sew these all together, I'll press them, and then I'll just let them stack there. And figure out what I'm going to do with them. Yeah. So the next time we're together, I have not used my Sweet 16 in months, and I'm going to be quilting this baby quilt here at home. And so I got to crank that Sweet 16 up, and we'll do that together. Yeah, we shall do some quilting on the Sweet 16, because some of you might be interested what that feels like or looks like. I could actually quilt that baby quilt on this sewing machine, no big deal. But I do have the Sweet 16, and I should get going on that. Get it cranked up. Make sure it's still working good. It's kind of fun when these are all matched up like this. The batting I use a lot of times, although I could probably use any kind of batting really with a baby quilt. It's not so large, but I no longer can do that bending over and pinning a quilt together, and I can't use the spray basted because of my asthma. So I use an iron-on batting, and I'm going to have to find out where I can get that in the already pre-packaged roll. I noticed they didn't have it at Joann's or Hobby Lobby, so I might have to mail order that. Used to be able to get it at in Portland at Fabric Depot. Boy, we do miss Fabric Depot. And I'm kind of in the mood to make some table runners. They're kind of satisfying, aren't they? Something quick and easy. Well, not all of them are easy. Some of them are more complicated, but the ones I choose are easy. Uh-oh. I'm just going to finish sewing these half square triangles together, and then I'm going to press them all open and put them in a box until I get this baby quilt layered and ready for quilting. I can't wait to go to Pioneer Quilts. It's been probably a year since I've been there, but it's in a very interesting location, and I'm going to take the camera, and hopefully I haven't heard they're closed, so I am going to take the camera and I'm going to do a walk around in the shop if they let me. And it is filled. It has such a huge variety, but a lot of wool, which, you know, I like wool, and beautiful flannel. You know, if you're allergic to wool, you can just use flannel. but I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. So we'll see you next time. Thank you again. And please, please, don't enter the giveaway unless you're a subscriber. And give us a thumbs up. It's easy when you click the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it's nothing weird happens. But if you click the bell next to it and say all, then you'll get a notification whenever I have a video up. And that's what I do with the YouTube channels that I follow. So remember, giveaway for a gift card at Pioneer Quilts, one for and also one at the Stitch and Post. Put in the comments and use the word quilt and be a subscriber. And thank you again for hanging out with me and being such a support.
Thanks for watching.
And be sure to like and subscribe on Quilt Roadies.